Good morning. It's Katie Englert with Practikat, and I wanted to hop on and have a chat with my business consultant pal, Chris Hill from Entrepreneuring is his practice or his business. Sorry, Chris, I'm used to saying practice. It's not a practice at all. He's a small business coach. Um, and I will put the link to his business, attach it to this video. So if you'd like to reach out to him, you can. So we're basically going to talk about just kind of same conversations that Chris and I are having right now, and just kind of let you in on some of those conversations, right, Chris?
Yes, ma'am. 100%.
Okay, so let's just talk about, like, you and I were talking, like, everybody's impacted right now.
Yeah, it's, because what's going on right now, I mean, and first of all, I want to say that, Katie and I, we're not lawyers, we're not bankers, we're not accountants, we're not government employees. This is all what we think is the best thing to do right now, given the information that we have available for us. And for anybody who has been affected by the COVID-19 virus and its effects, we definitely have our prayers and sympathies for anyone out there who's having to experience this right now. And one of the things that we're going through and we're evaluating, not to try to sound like Chicken Little right now that the sky is falling, but it's fixing to get very challenging for everybody. What we had as our normal, even, we're recording this on April the 2nd, I think?
Yes.
Yeah, April the 2nd. So even if you go back to what your business was on March the 1st, it is a new animal out there. The COVID has hit a lot of the United States and a lot of the world as well. And so I think it's very important that we start hunkering down into survival mode for our businesses and our practices long term, and to really start evaluating, to start, cutting back on any expenses that you don't have to spend right now. And any money that you do spend, you need to see an immediate return on investment going forward.
Yeah, I think, I operate in a very lean way anyway. So, we did the lean startup and kind of a flywheel method with Practikat, and those are just kind of like business models, if you all don't know what that means. And I run lean in all aspects of my life financially. I always have. It's just kind of my nature. But I think it is important right now. We talked about that because everybody's feeling it. You want to pay for your essentials. And, as a creative person, I think it is a time where, if it does fit in within your means to get creative right now, while you're getting lean.
Yeah, because I know for what I've been doing is I've been looking, rather than concentrating on what has been taken away from us as far as having, consultations in person, to really look at what is still available. Like right now, Katie and I, we're at each of our own respective place of business right now, but we're not in the same room recording this webinar. And to really look at what's available for you to still do rather than to concentrate on what you've lost going forward.
Right. And I think also, like, we were, in a place of whether you were just starting a practice or thinking about it, or wherever you were in the business starting or growing or winding up process, there was just a lot more certainty in what we were doing, even if you didn't realize it, like compared to now. There was just a lot more consistency in what was happening. So getting lean is something I know for us, like, it's just a time to really take stock, whatever kind of method you use. I know that there's a lot of therapists that use different kind of budgeting. Chris and I we've kind of gone through like the profit first chats before, and I do a modified version of that. And so I know a lot of therapists do that too. What's a specific getting lean tip that you might have for somebody right now, Chris?
So one of the things that you can do is to go through and look at any reoccurring draws you have, either on for like paying via ACH or well as on paying on credit card if you use that type of method. and to see if there's anything out of those reoccurring charges that that you can stop immediately that's not truly critical. Like one of the things that we've stopped, all meals out on the business, all traveled. Obviously, travel's pretty easy right now since no one can travel. I mean, even here in the state of Kentucky, the governor is recommending us, if we leave the state, to self-quarantine ourselves for 14 days. And to go through, any advertising that you don't know is bringing in additional leads and revenue to your business, that's something to consider.
Yeah, I think that return on investment right now is super important. So if you're not getting a really quick return on any kind of spending, then it needs to be really assessed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we were going to also take a few minutes, Chris. So the first kind of point that I guess that we're making is that everybody's feeling this. The second point that we are making is it's time to get lean. It doesn't mean to stop paying for things that you are getting a investment from. But we are looking at, what is essential to keep revenue coming in, and, what is more of a like non-essential, I guess is the best way to say that.
One thing that I didn't mention earlier is on your, your high dollar expenses like mortgage, rent, credit card, any debts that you have that you're paying on for your business, and even personally, go ahead, reach out to your lender, tell them the situation that you're in, and many lenders are allowing you to pause. And like, let's say you have a 10-year loan on something, it should be done, say, January 1st of 2030.
Mm-hmm.
And they will allow you to defer payments. So rather than, basically stop paying for X amount of time, say 1, 2, 3 months, they would then tack on the loan another 3 months. So rather than ending on, say, January the 1st of 2030, it would end on April 1st of 2030.
Yeah,
so
and go ahead.
Yeah, because a lot of your banks and lenders, they realize what's going on. The situation that we're all in it's not because of a bad decision that I made or you made or even the governor or the president has made. This is just something that has happened that we're all having to deal with. And I've seen a lot of people coming together to give grace and kindness to those who they're working with to try to help them out long term going forward, because we're all in this together at this point.
Right. And I think, we always try to practice generosity just in daily life. But I think right now it's even more important to, to extend that to people and to share resources, just like what we're doing here. So we just want to, all get through this the best we can. So with that being said, so we're going to get lean. We're going to offer some grace to others. What about the stimulus stuff that's coming out?
Okay. So there's 2 main programs for us as small business owners to concentrate on. One is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, and that actually comes with a $10,000 cash advance grant that comes with that just for applying, and the Payroll Protection Program as well. And so let me kind of got a little bit to go through on this. So basically, who is eligible for this? These 2 programs. And so again, the 2 programs are the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, and the acronym for that is the EIDL, or the Payroll Protection Program, which is PPP.
Can we share some of that with people, like in a quick download? Can you give me that?
Okay. I will have some links to share that will go directly to the individual links and the programs directly for that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so first of all, who is eligible for these loans and grants? So these are programs for small businesses with less than 500 employees. This also includes 501c3 nonprofits as well. Okay. I know there's been even some confusion. I'm on the financial advisory board for my church that I attend. And we've been talking to two different banks here locally. And one bank didn't think that a church was eligible and another one did.
Okay.
But if you look at because literally we had that conversation, I think I've got about 5 texts since we've been starting recording on this from my church about these types of things.
Yeah.
And but I believe that churches are available for this as well. Okay, so first we're going to talk about the economic injury disaster loan, and this also comes with a $10,000 cash advance on this. And so basically it's a grant. So it's a very quick application, takes roughly 10 to 15 minutes. And all you have to do is to get the $10,000 grant there's a checkbox you need to check off, and you can get this, and this does not have to be paid back. So even if you apply for the economic disaster loan, if you don't get it, you can still get the $10,000 free grant on this. It truly does.
If you qualify.
I think it's for everybody.
So that would be a good banker question.
Actually, this one, this one, you apply directly to the SBA. This does not go through a bank.
Okay.
And now whether or not if you're approved for the loan and how much, you can decide that at a later time, but basically applying for it gives you a $10,000 grant.
So what does that mean?
A grant is essentially free money, where it's a grant that the federal government is giving you to help maintain your business going forward.
Is there requirements on the grant spending and tracking that?
I do not believe so at this moment in time.
Okay.
And so, but this is the economic disaster loan, and this is the $10,000 grant for that, because it gets to be a little confusing here, Shirley. That's why I'm trying to make sure that the $10,000 grant is for the disaster loan application process.
So they're kind of bundled together, the $10,000 grant and the economic injury loan through the SBA. They are kind of a package deal, but you could get the grant and not get the loan.
Correct.
Okay. Do you know the details of what that loan will be?
Not exactly on that. Okay. I've been looking, because I think that because that's where we were kind of talking about earlier. The initial stimulus package is basically for the next 3 months.
Yeah.
Try to maintain headcount and everything for your business. But that's where you get into the new normal, what's business going to look like in July, August, September, because unemployment's going to be very high. And I think everyone's ideal situation is after the social distancing is over with, then things start to get back to normal. But there's going to be some, if you kind of think about our economy as a train's going down the road, and it takes, miles for it to stop once you starting to apply the brakes. Mm-hmm. But the opposite, unfortunately, is true as well. Once the economy starts back up again, then it's going to take some time to build some momentum going forward on this.
Right.
And so, because the SBA injury disaster loan, it is not forgivable and you have to pay it back. Doesn't matter. Okay. And there's also the
loan piece, but not the grant piece.
Yes, the loan piece, not the grant piece.
Okay.
And so, and you also have to do a personal guarantee with the disaster loan as well. So even if the business, worst case scenario, you get the disaster loan, and come December you have to file for bankruptcy as a business, then the SBA can come back to you personally as well for the dollar amounts as well. So you really need to be cautious on accepting the loan, and it's what you truly need to do that's in the best interest of your business long term.
Okay. So they can come after you personally for the loan if you have bankruptcy in your business, but not for the grant piece.
Correct. Yeah, the grant is yours. You do not have to pay back. The rest of the loan, you really need to make sure you want to do that.
But in order to get the grant, you have to apply for the loan.
Yes. You have to
Okay.
apply for a loan, but you don't have to accept the loan if it's given to you.
So you can apply and reject the loan, but take the grant.
Yes.
Okay. So, and you're going to give us the links for that to share with
Yes,
us.
100%.
Okay. Okay. And it would still be a good idea to talk to like your accountant or someone you trust
100%.
Before you make a decision. Okay. So that's some basic information. I don't think we need to get in the weeds too much there because that can be overwhelming.
Yes.
What's another option?
Okay. The next one is the Payroll Protection Program. This one is truly phenomenal. So basically you can look at so basically the Payroll Protection Program, it is a forgivable loan that the federal government will loan you. You take your average payroll per month for 2019, and they will then loan you 2.5 times your monthly payroll. And
Okay,
from that, you can then pay.
Okay, so start over again. So the payroll protection is, they do what from 2019?
Yeah, so you take your average monthly payroll for 2019.
Okay.
And then you multiply that times 2.5. They will then loan you that amount. However, if you use the loan dollars to pay for payroll, rent, mortgage insurance, and utilities over an 8-week period of paying those 4 items, then it is a forgivable loan, which basically means they are giving you the money. And that's what makes this such an incredible loan.
Okay.
This.
So just so I got it here. So whatever my monthly payroll was in 2019 average, I would multiply that by 2.5%.
No, 2.5 times.
Okay. So you multiply like if my monthly payroll was $10,000 and I multiply that by 2.5, that would be what? I'm not going to have to do this. 25,000. Sorry.
Yes.
So 25,000 would be what my loan application would be for the PPP program.
Yes.
And once I'm approved, what you're saying is once I would be approved for that loan, the first 8 weeks of that loan, if I use the money to pay for my payroll, my rent, my
utilities,
any kind of interest,
and mortgage interest, not the principal.
Interest. Okay. So those things you would need to pay really close attention and track all of that.
Yes.
And have proof of that. And then you would submit that
back to the bank. And then one thing for the PPP loan, you apply for that directly to an SBA bank lender. So you would go through your local banker that you've been using in general, provided they're an approved SBA lender. And you would the bank is the entity that actually would be loaning you the money directly on this.
So then for that 8 weeks, if you spend it on those items like the rent, the payroll, the utilities, the interest, then you would turn that into your banker and they would just forgive that part.
Yes.
Okay. So that is very important to consider. And it's important also, it sounds like for this one, the first step would be whoever you have a relationship with as far as a banking goes, that you would find out if the banker or the bank that you already use is a SBA lending bank.
Correct.
And if they're not, what would you do? Find one?
Then you need to find one. I know for myself, I've actually been talking to I have 2 businesses, and so I've been talking to both banks that I use for the 2 different businesses. And so I'm kind of hedging my bets because, there's only $350 billion with a B for the payroll protection program. I know that sounds like a lot of money. However, because if you have a small business, you can apply on Friday, April the 3rd. If you're a sole proprietor or an independent contractor, then you can apply on Friday, April the 10th. And
Okay.
so I really, really want to emphasize, talk to your banker now on this. I mean, as we're recording this on April the 2nd, that's tomorrow, that small businesses can start to apply for this.
For a small business who hires 1099 workers, is that a conversation that you need to have on your team and your people, like your CPA, your bookkeeper, your banker, to find out what's right for you?
Yes, 100%. Because that's one of the questions that Katie and I, we were discussing earlier before we did this, before we made this webinar, is our 1099 contractors on, that are on your team, are they included in the payroll protection program? And, it depends on how, that's still up in the air, truthfully. So I really want to recommend talking to your CPA, talking to your banker to get better definition on who all is included with that or not.
Yeah, and I think it's an important team conversation once you do that too, so everybody's on the same page um, with that.
Yes. Now, one thing on the PPP program, you can get payroll up, like let's say you have your normal team, and then you may have some very high earners on your team, like a salesperson or even an owner that may make an excess of $100,000 a year. You can only apply. So if you have someone who, say, makes $140,000 a year, for the loan amount, they will only loan you for that particular employee or team member up to $100,000. So it's the 2019 average monthly, but you can only pay the equivalent of an employee up to $100,000. So that may bring it down a little bit, but that's just something that's a little bit into the details on that, but it's not a true slam dunk of all of your payroll for average monthly payroll for 2019.
Right. And I heard someone say this, and I'm not sure where, but if you go the PPP loan route, doesn't like a certain percentage of that have to cover wages?
Yes. So, and there's a lot of information that's been flowing out of this because once we got direction from the SBA as far as what percentage, so only up to 25% of the PPP for loan forgiveness will be allowed for rent, utilities, and mortgage interest. So basically, they want 75% of the to be forgivable. It has to be used towards payroll to keep your team employed and working and continuing keeping the economy going in the short term.
So it sounds like with either one of the options, so we talked about that this is affecting everybody right now. We talked about how it's important to like really get lean as you can and make sure that whatever you're spending your money on, it's either essential or you're getting a great return on your investment. And then you kind of gave us some of the options that will be available or that are available for small business owners. But what I'm hearing after we get to this place is that it's going to be really important if you choose one of these options or if you don't, to make sure that you're tracking really good performance indicators for your business. I know a lot of times we call them KPIs. So really important things for your business. And I know for us, those things for my practice that we're tracking are, the amount of appointments that are scheduled, the amount of referrals coming in, who's keeping their appointments, who's missing their appointments, the amount of revenue we have coming in every week, the amount we're spending. So there's all these numbers that we are very important always. But right now, when you're running a lean ship, this is me, my inner voice talking here. I'm captain of this ship here, right? So as I'm the captain of this ship, it's really important for me as we are running lean to know the numbers in as close to as real time as you can get. So it sounds like in addition to that, Chris, there are some other things that we need to be gathering for these programs if we want the assistance.
Yeah, it's to get the assistance, because I've already done it for my other business. You need to get your payroll numbers to your lender. You need to get, so basically I've given, so all of 2019 payroll summary numbers by employee, also from February 15th, 2019 to June 30th, 2019, the same payroll summary numbers. You need to have your
taxes filed from last year. They have to be filed from 2018, correct?
Now, if you've already done your 2019 taxes for the business, or you can go off of, I just gave my banker my 2019 profit and loss statement as well to show
Okay.
Gross sales, gross profit, net profit, and etc.
Okay. So basically the financial statements that you would use for any kind of loan, you're going to want to have ready.
Yeah, and I believe for the SBA disaster loan, you may have to give a personal financial statement as well for any business owner, for any person who owns more than 20% of the business. And a personal financial statement is basically showing your, on a personal level, your assets, liabilities, and debts. So basically a balance sheet for someone individually. So, cash in the bank, any homes or businesses that you own, stocks, etc. on that.
Yep. Okay. So we would need to not only track our really important numbers while you're running a lean ship, you have to get things ready. Is there any other type of indicator that you think is important now that maybe we forgot about or weren't tracking before this hit that you can offer us?
Well, it's not so much something that, you should have been doing this already, and a lot of people don't, is you need to make sure you're reconciling your checking accounts and all your bank statements every month. A lot of businesses don't do this, and they may do it once a year, and then they realize that the information they're looking at on their monthly profit and loss statement, they're forgetting things that they spent money on. And so you really have to start looking at what is your business doing on profit wise, not just what are your sales or what do you have in the bank, because you really need to start evaluating, if you have a much less, if your revenue starts going down dramatically, to have a plan in place for some different revenue levels. I've already done that for my business so that I can anticipate, how long you can go, what cash reserves that you have so that you can survive the economic storm that we have right now. And then, like I was saying earlier, just go through, look at what you have on direct deposit or direct pay with either credit card or ACH payments, and see what you can pause on that going forward.
Yeah, or manually start writing those checks just to make sure that you're managing your own cash flow. I know that just for ease of purpose, I am a fan of automatic pay. We reconcile, but my attention and focus is not always the best, and I intend on replying to emails and text messages, and in my mind I do, and in my heart I do. Same with the bills. So I'm very good with that kind of thing, but I do rely on that. So I think that that's a great tip to kind of pause those things as we're moving forward. So we're going to put contact information on some tools that we mentioned here, some free tools, a tracking dashboard. And Chris, tell us about your offer for people if they need help right now.
Okay, so my offer for people if they need help right now, basically I'm waiving fees going forward, effective immediately. I mean, we're here to try to help people stay in business, and it's going to be very, very challenging going forward for businesses. I feel like I'm Chicken Little right now saying the sky is falling, but it's the old adage, expect, hope for the best and expect the worst.
Or
And
prepare for the worst.
yes, thank you. Prepare for the worst and hope for the best. Sorry. See, so that's the thing. My mind's been going nuts the last 3 weeks.
I know it's always fun to have so many different people on. Like, I love my little team of people, and I think that probably shows whenever I'm having these chats with people. I hope it does. But it's always fun to have like a mix of personalities too on your business squad because you all kind of need each other to do what's best for your business typically. So I think that that's an amazing offer. We're trying to be super generous right now and really just serve people because it's a tough time for people. So if you want to connect with Chris, his business is Entrepreneuring, and I'm going to share the link with the video, and we're going to get some other links and maybe put together like a quick PDF or something to share as well. So if you have any questions, you can contact Chris at Entrepreneuring or me, Katie at Practikat.com. Entrepreneuring, can you spell it for us, Chris?
Yes, Entrepreneuring, and it took me a while to where I could spell it. My background's engineering anyway, so spelling is not my forte, but Entrepreneuring is a combination of entrepreneurship and engineering made into one word. So Entrepreneuring is ENTRENEERING.
Entrepreneuring.
Entrepreneuring, yes.
Okay, well, wonderful. Well, we hope you have a good day, and we hope that this was helpful for you. Reach out to us if you have any questions or need help. Cool. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks for having me on, Katie. We appreciate it very much.
All right, bye.